Hello everyone. Very recently I came across a young gentleman, just a couple of years of corporate experience. He sounded very troubled. All he was saying is that he can see complete darkness in front of his eyes. The future is doomed. All this because he felt that the year went very bad. Maybe his appraisal was not up to the mark. Maybe his increments, his promotions, his bonuses, and all other benefits that are linked to the career growth of a person did not come in a generous way for this young gentleman, and hence he was very troubled. Let us park the story of this gentleman for a while and go to a different thing. Do you believe that we can see the future? Now, this may sound a little bizarre, but the truth is that we can actually see the future. Let me narrate a small incident. It so happened that in the beginning or in the early stage of my career, I was appearing in front of an interview panelist. The panel consisted of 4 interviewers. So after all other questions, there was one question which was like, where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? Now this was something which was an expected line. Most of the interviewers, they asked this question. So I was also prepared, but then I took a small pause, appeared to be more thoughtful, and then I said, in the 5 years down the line, I see myself in the top management. Now, these interviewers, they suddenly, I could see that they were quite amazed, and they looked at me and then looked at each other, and then they burst out into a loud laugh. I am even though very happy to have made them laugh their heart out, but then ultimately I believe and understand that they could understand that my understanding about the pace at which a career progresses in the corporate world was something not really clear in my mind. I was looking at it from a bookish perspective. Now, to give more content to this perspective, let me talk about 2 important phases of human life. The first phase that I want to talk is the academic phase, or the phase in which a person actually studies. So typically it's at the age of 5 one starts into a formal education, and then by the time the person is 25 years old, the person completes his education. Now for some cases it could be a little longer, for some cases it could be a little shorter. But say 20 years of formal academic life, that is one phase. The second phase, which is the working phase, begins say at the age of 25 and ends at the age of 60. So 35 years. The 35 years is such a long journey. This is a statement that I am taking from the title of the book of Rohinton Mistry, but nonetheless, I mean to say that it is such a long journey. In this long journey, going back to the same troubled young gentleman, in this long journey of 35 years, does it really matter a year here or a year there, lost out completely? I think all of you will agree that it really doesn't matter. Now, we all know that, rather it's not a matter of we all knowing, it's a belief that every 7 years a person changes. He becomes a different person. He transforms into a different person. Why does it happen? Because all these 7 years, he is made to face a lot of circumstances, good, bad, ugly, difficult, and then those have an impact on him, and then he evolves as a different person. Now, this is something which is more of a reactive in nature. We are reacting to the external circumstances. But what about those where we can actually create a favorable set of circumstances around us, and basis that we progress towards the goal that we have set for ourselves. But before that, we need to see where is it that we want to reach, and that is where I'm talking about the future seeing. There is a saying that winners win twice, once in the mind and then the final time in the ground. The same thing happens with an individual who is traversing the path of career in any organization, or maybe a multiple of organizations. Now here, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 35 years down the line, these are like distant time. We really do not know that how do we look, where do we see ourselves. But that is exactly what a person need to do. You need to see that where is it that you want to reach, and then you start working in that area. Now, as it is said, that a person would actually reach a destination only if he knows where he wants to reach. Otherwise, a person will be termed best as a wanderer. So, like the way the wind blows, the person keeps going in the same direction and then ultimately he's lost. This also brings in mind certain more small examples. So, if I have to talk about, say, a small example where a person goes to a fortune teller and then asks that, tell me something about my future. Now this person basically is talking about particular life events. Predicting such life event is best left to the fortune tellers. I have no expertise to talk about that, but what I want to talk here basically is that if I have to reach a level of, say, a middle management in, say, 5 years, 10 years down the line, what are the skill sets that I require? Do I really possess those skill sets? If the answer is yes, then maybe you are not being valued. And if the answer is no, then we need to really work on that. Now, if you start working on that, opportunities will definitely come. If not in organization A, then maybe organization B. Of course, I am not trying to preach that a person should actually jump ships, keep on changing organizations. But what I mean to say is that a person with a right skill set and leadership traits would be given a position because there is always a dearth of the right candidate for any organization. So there are people who would like to see. So the message to this young gentleman that there is nothing to be troubled all about. There is nothing to be so sad about. 1 or 2 years or maybe a little more, such impediments will definitely come if somebody has started the journey of reaching somewhere. And at the same time, I also say that yes, we can see the future only if we are not blinded by the small walls which are really tiny in nature and we can jump over. So with that thought that the future is bright, we need to only ensure that we reach there and work for that future. This is Prashant Datta signing off. Thank you very much for watching this video.